campaigns under very unusual circumstances. Not that we are complaining, but we are making sure that whatever comes our way, that we will be prepared. And I'm very, very pleased with what is happening. I want to thank my campaign team very much for what they have been doing so far. I want to thank my canvassers, all those who are doing their part, and my campaign, because as you know, I cannot do this alone. So I want to thank them for really pushing hard, pushing forward, pushing positively to make sure that we put the campaign again in a winning position. And this time around, we will win the constituency, not just for Labour, but for the people of constituency number 8 and for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So we are very, very positive, not just because we want to be positive, but we have put the structures and the team and the processes in place to make sure that we deliver the seat.
All right. Well, let's go firstly to some of the things that you intend to deal with straight off the bat in your constituency, some of the issues that the constituency is facing. And you have a very large geographical area in your constituency. So how do you intend to serve this large area and this large amount of people?
Well, I would say, and everybody knows, that this constituency is large geographically, as you have pointed out, but it's also large in terms of numbers. It is the largest constituency, I think, in terms of numbers now in the Federation. There was a constituency in Nevis that had a larger registered numbers, even though we were leading in number of persons who voted. Mm-hmm. I think we have surpassed that constituency by now. And so over the years, I've been able to, with my team working, of course, to map this constituency and to really put this constituency in a position where we can serve it well. And that is where the teams come in, because I have teams in Keyon, Keys, Connery, and St. Peter's proper. And Connery, of course, would include Half Moon, and the Keyon would include Otleys. And so, and the smaller communities in between, such as Kitsodat, Nismas, Canada, to make sure, Bayfords. And so we have mapped it in that way so that we can serve everybody. And so we have these teams that are continuously working, and that is to make sure that where I might be stretched, especially because I am now the leader of the party and leading the party forward, my teams are out there meeting with the people, greeting with the people. And so every single day, I am on the road in constituency number 8, meeting people. And so I go from district to district. So one of the ways in dealing with it is to make sure that I have properly structured team that can reach the people and the people can reach that team. I've also increased the number of offices in the constituency. We know that St. Peter's is now the fastest growing area in St. Kitts Nevis. And so I have 2 offices in St. Peter's because it is so large. And so I have an office in Keyon as well that is going to serve. And then in the future, we will put an office in between Keys and Connery, as well as even an area where people can meet me, because I want to serve the whole district in its entirety and in a wholesome way. So we have structured it that way, and we know that it is working. And as it works, this is what will continue even after the election, so that people can have access to us and we can have access to the people, and to have teams to continuously work even when I may not be present, but the issues and the issues of the constituency can continue to be addressed. So we have structured it like that, and it's working tremendously well at this time. Now, you asked another question, Ike, about the plans that we will have, the specific plans. So that deals with how we're going to handle the constituency in terms of reaching the people and making sure we can manage the constituency well by having the number of teams throughout the districts and the offices. I'm speaking to you from my new office here in the Douglas area of St. Peter's, and this is the office that will open on the weekend. So look out for that, Ike. We'll have a grand session here in St. Peter's as we open up the last constituency office for Labour in the country, the office of the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And so we'll invite the whole country to really come to our opening. It will be a grand affair. And so we are preparing for that as well. And when it comes to the issues, I can go into that if you want me to.
Sure.
Right. So we have mapped out again the constituency to these large 4 areas, and then the smaller communities around would feed into one of the larger communities. And one of the issues that are affecting the constituency, I've been speaking about this for nearly a decade now, is the water issue. Since 2015, nothing was done to deal with the water issue for the people of constituency number 8. If you go to Half Moon, it's a problem. Connery can have problems. St. Peter's, especially Keon, can suffer water problem. There was a company called Bede that was actually brought in to deal with the water issue. Mr. Isaac, who is one of the proprietors for the gas station in Keon, the Green Valley gas station, he would have invested heavily in that company. And that company was charged with the responsibility of finding water by identifying where the water would be and to dig the wells to access the water and connect that to storage facilities and to the main line so that that water can reach the homes. After 2015, that was shut down by Timothy Harris, shut down by Patrick. So it was shut down by PAM and shut down by PLP. And the people of Keon continue to suffer. The people of St. Peter's, the people of Half Moon and Throw continue to suffer because of the bad policy decisions by PAM and PLP, the Prime Minister especially. And so PAM and PLP would have failed the people in constituency number 8 when it comes to the water issue. Now, recently we are hearing that they want to recommission the company to actually go and finish the job after they would have suspended them for about 7 years. It is a joke. It is a farce. It is an election gimmick. And I want the people to understand that clearly that the water issue is a big failure on both PLP and PAM. And that me, as the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's candidate and the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the future Prime Minister of this country will make sure that the water situation becomes a priority. It will be treated as a priority, not only for constituency number 8, but for the whole country. We have enough water on the ground to serve our people. We are surrounded by water. We just need to have the political will, the policies, and the impetus to make sure that water is delivered to the people. So I want the people of constituency number 8 to know that we will solve the water problems, not just for home use, but also for the farmers in the area as well. So water has become a significant issue. The other issue that we find, especially in the area, is the joblessness. There's a lot of joblessness, underemployment, and job security that's affecting the people of constituency number 8. And so we will, of course, start a number of projects and new industries in our country that will generate jobs so that the people of constituency number 8 can have more and secure jobs. For example, I can talk about the renewable energy projects that we will start that will create a new industry that will be dealing with solar energy, as we would have mentioned, since 2013 and was slowed down tremendously again by this government. We are talking about the waste to energy project that we'll do in Connery as well. We'll convert that landfill into an energy producing plant. That will bring a lot of prestige to Connery and to eradicate and get rid of that type of stigma of having a landfill in a community. That will become an energy producing area. I've already discussed with the necessary professionals who would come in, who would have already been here, who would have done the studies already. Had Labour won in 2015, we wouldn't have had just a landfill, we would have had an energy project here in Connery that would produce jobs to the people of Connery and to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis on a whole. So as we shift to renewable energy, we will do a waste to energy project. As we look into solar energy, we will open up new industries, and as a result, we'll have our people working. Let me give you an example, a practical example, EK. For the solar panels, we'll need a plan to assemble solar panels. We'll need people trained in putting solar panels and roofs where they have to put them. We'll have people trained in the repair of solar panels, in the recycling of the solar panels. So what we'll do to match that is that we'll introduce a course in the college. And at the college, you will have students sign up to do courses in the solar energy industry, where they'll go to learn about the solar energy, and they will be responsible for installing, maintaining, fixing, and repairing, and also recycling. And that is going to open up a significant number of green jobs for our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But number 8 will benefit, and Connery with that waste to energy project and bring a great deal of prestige to Connery. That project will be reinstituted, restarted, and so we'll transform Connery significantly in terms of jobs, in terms of prestige of the area. I also want to mention, when it comes to roads, that the road in St. Peter's will be done. PLP and PAM failed to do the road in St. Peter's. PLP and PAM said that the road to St. Peter's is not part of the island main road. one of the first things I'll do is to make sure that the St. Peter's main road is titled part of the island main road, and therefore it has to be maintained, it has to be paved. So we'll pave that road as the other part of the island main road would have been paved and fixed up, and we'll put in some sidewalks, especially walking towards the Anglican church. When you walk along this side at the airport where people go walking and so forth, so people don't have to walk in the road. And so we'll create sidewalks and we'll pave the road. Just as it was done in other parts of the country, it will be done for St. Peter's as well. So I want the St. Peter's people to also look forward to that. One of the other things we'll do is when it comes to agriculture, as I've said before, we'll make sure that the farmers have water. Water is very, very fundamental. And as we unleash our agricultural plan, the Green Hill area, the Bayfords area, and the farmers of St. Peter's will have access to the plans that we'll release. They would increase. We will make sure that they have the necessary land preparation. It is important. We'll have the equipment that can do that. We'll also make sure that they have water. We'll also work with them to create markets so that when they produce their stuff, that the government will put something in place to help them to store their produce and also to market their produce. And so we want the farmers to be very enthusiastic about the plan that we are bringing for Green Hill, and we are bringing for Bayfords and other parts of the constituency. We are Evening Keys, where some young men have started an excellent project in Connery, where some young men have started some excellent farming projects. And when it comes to fishing, we will develop fishing in Connery. We'll make sure that they have access to the necessary equipment that they need, and we are thinking about, and what we will do over there is to construct a small fisheries type of project so that the Connery fishermen can have access to. And so we'll create that for them so they can have the ice that they need, the storage that they need, the equipment that they need as we launch our blue economy, where we can extract more from the sea while preserving it at the same time. And Connery will be a fundamental part of that. Connery Keys, which is involved in fishing and dealing with the ocean tremendously. So we'll not only look at farming in terms of the land, but we'll look at the blue areas of farming, which would be the sea. And we'll introduce new ideas in farming which would affect the constituency as well, like hydroponics. And Comrade Samuel Duggins, who was named the Farmer of the Year, who is a pioneer in hydroponics here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Those type of techniques will also be introduced so that we can increase our output and make sure that our farmers are making money. They're having markets to deliver their stuff, and that would of course be a very viable means of making a living and so forth. So we'll make sure that the farming is on track throughout the constituency. When it comes to health, the St. Peter's Health Center has been stopped by PAM and PLP. PLP and PAM stopped the construction of the health center in St. Peter's. They use it as an election gimmick because I spoke about a new health center for St. Peter's. They thought they could have gone and started something, but if you go there, you'll see the state of the health center. And I'll put a picture up so people can see the state of it. It has been stopped for months now. The people of St. Peter's, the elderly especially, they have to wait in a bus stand that was built by the AYPA and recently defaced by the PLP campaign. I think the AYPA would have the right to take action with respect to that. But the point is, they have to sit in a bus stand while they're waiting for the doctors to come. And our elderly should not have to be subjected to that. More and more people are living longer, and we need to put the necessary infrastructure in place to make sure that they're taken care of. As part of our plan, that would be aging with dignity, would be the delivery of real good quality healthcare and facilities to our population, and especially the elderly. As we know, as we get older, we need more medical care and medical attention. So that will be part. Will increase in the constituency our home care. As you know, I have been seeing these shut-ins and elderly at their homes for a number of years now, and I will continue that. Even take a day to make sure that I touch with those who would need medical care and that I can offer, even being in office. Taking a half a day once a month with a necessary team to meet them will be part of my direct contribution towards healthcare here in St. Kitts and Nevis, apart from my ministerial responsibilities and so forth. And that we will increase home care to make sure that all the elderly, and that is why we'll need our doctors to be trained in community health, and we will provide the infrastructure for that. So all the elderly and shut-in in our community will be guaranteed those home visits and that proper care that they so desire. And so we look at the health center in St. Peter's, and we construct a new health center in Connery. Right now, they're operating out of the community center. That is a no. Again, I had spoken about the community health center in Connery. They tried to make a makeshift thing over in Connery by having the community center use 2 days per week. That is not sufficient. Connery is expanding, it's growing. It doesn't only cover Connery, but the surrounding areas like Nismas. And if you go back to the Connery Beach, the flats, you go all the way back to Half Moon and so forth, the Atlantic views and so forth. There are a number of aging persons in these areas who at any time might need care, and you have an expanding preschool and where people would need care as well. And so we'll make sure that there's a health center in Connery so the Connery people can look forward to that as well. So, EK, there are a number of things that we will do in the constituency, building homes. For example, Keys was deprived of housing projects over the last 7 years, and we'll make sure that we resume to construct projects in Keys, housing projects or housing solutions so that more people in Keys can have housing. But I single out Keys that I'm really talking about the whole constituency. We need more houses throughout the whole constituency. And our 2,000 home plan, which will be a massive revolution. We need a next housing revolution, and that will take place in our constituency as well, as we seek to build 2,000 houses nationwide, and constituency number 8 will get its fair share based on its size and population with respect to that. So that will bring jobs to our community, homes to our community, so that people can have their needs fulfilled with respect to housing and so forth. And so that will go throughout the constituency. I know I'm saying a lot, but it's a big constituency, and these plans are very feasible. They have been on the board. Some of them would have started already. It's just about completing them. But before I wrap up this section, I want to say that we'll complete the field in St. Peter's. A piece of it need to complete by putting on the roof and so forth, and having that stadium reflect the quality football player that Atiba Harris was when he was playing professionally. And so we want to upgrade that and have a number of the stands named after players who would have been excellent players throughout St. Peter's. We'll also upgrade the basketball court and netball court, which are in deplorable conditions at this point in time. As you know, I sponsor the football league, the basketball league, and to see that the facilities are really running down, we have to do something to stop that. We will finally build the stadium in Connery. We had the money to build it the last time from the SIDF when the government changed. PAM and PLP stopped the building of the stadium in Connery, and I am committed to completing it so the Connery people can look forward to their new stadium. And another thing that has happened in Connery, they have transported the old equipment that they had from the playground here in Douglas area, New Road area, where we had the New Road playground. Those equipment have been transported to Connery. I will remove those old equipment, and I want to say to the people of Connery that you deserve new equipment. Your community that deserve the best that St. Kitts have to offer. Why they have to take these old equipment and put them over in Connery? Does Connery deserve to have new equipment like other places that would have gotten them? And so we are going to move those old equipment, and we're going to give Connery a proper playground. As you know, EK, I collaborated with others to deliver the playset to the Connery preschool. If you go there at the Connery preschool, you'll see a fairly new playset. We brought in a brand new
playset yesterday.
Yes, for Connery. And we know it can be done. And I'm not even in government. I was able to collaborate with others to make sure that the children at the preschool would have a good playset so that they can swing, they can slide and enjoy their preschool years. As you know, those things are important for development. And we will make sure that Connery gets one for the general population of Connery. And those old equipment really should not be placed in Connery. Connery deserves better, and we will deliver better for the people of Connery with respect to that. So you can let you come in now. It's quite a mouthful, but it's a comprehensive plan that I have for the constituency. There are other things I can mention, but I'll let you come in.
All right. Well, from listening to you, there's a lot that you have to do across a great geographical space. And so I would want to ask you from a national standpoint, how do you intend to deal with the size of the constituencies in St. Kitts and Nevis? Because it is downright unfair that one candidate should have 1,000, 2,000 people, while the next candidate have 3,000 plus people to deal with across this vast geographical area. So from a national standpoint, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's approach to electoral reform, boundaries, the inconsistencies in the electoral office and these kind of things. What is your plan, and how soon do you intend to deal with these things?
So, Ike, I would say this will be high on the agenda, that we have to deal almost immediately with the issues of constitutional reform and the boundaries issue. Why do we have to deal with it? As you said, in constituency number 8 is over 7,000 on the list now, and there are constituencies that are half of that. And it is not fair for the people of constituency number 8. And so we will follow the rules of the Constitution that says that the boundaries are supposed to be revisited after 2 to 3 years, and they should be as equal as possible. So we are going to make sure that we follow the regulations, the laws with respect to that, so that each constituency can be more or less the same size, and that will give an opportunity for all to be served equally. Nonetheless, even with a large constituency, I have already mapped out a plan, as I told you before, of how we'll serve the people in constituency number 8. But from the national standpoint, that will be dealt with, EK, within our first year for sure, with looking at the boundaries and making sure that they are aligned in such a way to reflect what the laws, the spirit of the laws ask, that they are nearly equal, and we'll work on that. And that will, of course, help the situation tremendously in terms of serving our people.
All right. On a national level, again, in terms of getting our economy back to where it was after this whole pandemic, does the Labour Party have a concerted effort to do that?
Yes. Ike, what we met last Sunday, and we are completing our economic team to make sure, and it has already been started to look at, to make sure that from day one, we have a plan up and running. And we have been working on that for some time now. The economy will have what you call a post-COVID reset, because post-COVID, we know that the situation with respect to the economies in the world, that situation would not be the same. We see that COVID would have affected economies. We see now that there is a war up north, and that is affecting the economies. And so we really have to get into a situation where we can stabilize our economy and make sure that things flow to benefit our people. But before we get to a stable economy, we have to get a stable government. For nothing can really work and function unless you have a stable government. We are in a real quagmire. We are in a situation where the government has fallen, and that has affected everything, Ike. There are investors who want to come in to invest in our country to help to grow our economy, but they are holding back. They are holding back because they're saying, why should they invest in a country that can be politically unstable? And that is why I'm saying to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to choose the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, to vote for the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, to deliver that stable, united government that can stabilize our situation here. And the economy, of course, for it to flourish and function, there has to be a stable, united government. So I want to start there. Now, once you have that, EK, then you start to look at the economy. Now, you look at really cost of living, and we need to look at cost of living issues. We will present our plan, our comprehensive plan of how we will deal with it in short order. We'll look at renewable energy and new jobs, new industries. We will create a small business ministry, which will be a one-stop. That ministry will seek to enhance, support, and help small businesses to grow and flourish, because our people during COVID have realized in larger numbers that we are an innovative people. People have come to the conclusion, look, I want to do my own thing. I don't want to necessarily work for anybody. And we have to create an environment where our people who want to go into small business, and they will be encouraged to go into small business and be given the necessary support so that they can flourish and they can live well here in St. Kitts and Nevis as the owners of their own businesses. So we want to make that the premise. We want to look at energy. Because energy, with the high cost of fuel now, and you were speaking earlier about the buses, and each person who owns a bus, that is a small business. How are we going to help them with this situation? Giving them a few $100s is not going to resolve it. And that is why we are going to make sure that in the first order, we are going to help the situation by subsidizing for a while, but not for a very long time. Because once we bring on stream our renewable energy projects, everybody will start to benefit from it, and we'll keep energy prices here stable in St. Kitts and Nevis. I spoke about it, I think, in the last meeting where I spoke about solar energy. and I spoke about the waste to energy project that we'll do in Connery, that will lift Connery in terms of job and its prestige and so forth. And that will help to stabilize energy here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And then I spoke about converting our vehicles to electric vehicles, our renewable type of energy use vehicles. And once we do that, the price to transport around St. Kitts and Nevis will be significantly reduced. And why we can do it, the studies have been done. I've consulted with the necessary experts and so forth. And it can be done. St. Kitts is a small place, Nevis is a small space, so we can do it. And the experts are telling me it can be done once the political will is there. And I tell them, give me the longest period of time they think that would be required. And they're telling me 3 years. The longest, if a lot of things go wrong, you can deliver it in that time. But they're saying we can deliver it in short order because the infrastructure and so forth. And we know it's there because we studied it back before the 2015 election, and that is why we told our people that we can shift to renewable energy. Had there been the political will, today we would have been more on renewable energy, and we would not have to suffer these high prices in gas and so forth that's affecting the functioning of the economy and so forth. And so we'll have a comprehensive plan also to deal with that. So I want people to pay attention. We have a number of specific plans that we are coming to bring to help our people to deal with the cost of living and to get people here in St. Kitts and Nevis on the path to creating wealth for themselves and their families. And EK, while I'm talking about the cost of living and the economy, I want to touch on the issue of the PAP. I want to say to people of St. Kitts and Nevis that the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party will not end the intention of what the PAP is. That is not going to happen. We had a program called the MEND, and we are going to challenge the PLP who are suggesting that we want to end PAP. Tell them that we started the PAP, but we didn't call it a poverty program. We call it MEND and now we are saying we're going to mend the PAP. And out there we said that people did not even know because we did not bring people into the square and said these are people living in poverty and to display them before the world. We found who these people were, and we went to them. We had the schools and so forth submitting the names that we could have gone to them. Look at your situation. Your situation will be evaluated, EK. So if we have somebody living in St. Peter's, and we know that they might be going through struggles, a single mother, especially single mothers. You know, I have a special place in my heart for single mothers because I grew up with a single grandmother and partly with my single mother and so forth, and I understand the struggle, and that is why I'm working so hard to make sure that these families will not suffer, because most households are headed by single mothers, and if you help these households, you would have helped the country completely, and we can eradicate poverty. And so what we can do, EK, we go to our home, we evaluate it, and this mother is working hard, but she's working for less than minimum wage, as my grandmother used to do when she was working in the sugar industry, working hard, but working for very little. And we'll assess the situation. What would it require to lift this particular family out of poverty? Would this family require $500, $1,000, $1,500? And how we set it up, once we make the calculation, you will get the necessary funding that you need to lift you out of poverty. But we just did not give you the funding alone. We made sure that the children had to go to school. When I used to live with my grandmother, she didn't have a lot of money, but she instilled in me and that I had to be in school every day, and I had to be early, and I had to go to learn, because she was adamant that an education was the way to make sure that I, would not end up in a way that she did not want me to end up. She wanted me to have a much better life that she would have had, and she would have instilled this. Of course, my mother and also my father, I want to thank them very much as well. And so I would look at this family. And so the children, there will be requirements, making sure that the children go to school at least 80% of the time, because they will have a social worker working with them. And also, if you find that the mother has a particular type of skill, she can sew, she can cook well, what we would do is to help her to create a micro business, give her the funding so she can do a micro business. If she likes to bake, why not give her a stove, a good oven with that, bake pans, the necessary ingredients, and she can bake and she can sell her cakes. Easy like that, she can be bringing in $1,000 per month. People doing that, at least a few $100s per month that she did not have, that can add to the household. Right there, she becomes industrious, and that builds esteem, and that creates wealth for the family so that she can build on. So we look for opportunities where we can invest in that family so that that family can start creating its own wealth. But added to that, we want to make sure that the children go to school. If the children need laptops, all the children will get laptops again. If they need internet, anything that we can give that family, that will give the children and the mothers an opportunity to be lifted out of poverty. So we'll help them to live above the poverty line, and create opportunities for them so that one day they will be in a position to continue on and would not need the assistance of the government for all of their lives. So it is really a program to help to empower people, lift them up, and set them on a path so that they can really start to create wealth and create that type of future that they need. And we are going to present this to the people. We started the pilot program that was supposed to become nationalized. But when the government changed what they did, instead of looking at the families and see what families would require to lift them out of poverty, they said just give $500. So there are some families getting $500 for still living in poverty. So it's not alleviating their poverty. That family might require $1,000 to lift out of poverty. That family might require $1,500 to lift out of poverty. That family might require sending the child to a private class because they need that extra help. That family might require delivering a laptop and internet service so that the children themselves can get a proper education and in the next generation lift that family out. That family might require a mother who can sew well, might need a sewing machine, some cloth and so forth, and can help to bring in some extra money per month if she's given the necessary support and the funding for a micro business. So I understand this. I understand what family needs from my own experience and my own upbringing. And if we do a program like this, we can start to lift our people out of poverty and get them on a path of wealth creation. So by the time you reach the next generation, or even in this present generation, they're creating wealth, and they can create wealth which can, of course, increase the standing of their family, help them to save some money and look forward. And attached to that will be housing. A lot of single mothers out there, they need houses. They have 2 and 3 children, they're working hard, they're doing their best, they can't make it, and they need not a handout but a hands up. And what we need to do, we need to produce housing so they can have a proper home to go to, where the toilet facilities, kitchen facilities. We know house rent is high. A lot of them can't afford the rent. They're going from house to house, these struggles and difficulties. And we're going to set a program to bring those difficulties to an end, and at the same time, empowering the family to empower themselves and create wealth and move onwards and upwards in this society. So we will be looking at that, EK, to make sure that the economy is not just looking good on paper and to say we have surplus after surplus. No, we want to make sure that the economy is working for people, putting money in people's pocket, and making sure that people have good places to live, they have health care for their children, they have energy, they have water, they can live a life that is, of course, pleased, that they will be pleased with, and the opportunity, if they're industrious, and they should be industrious, to create wealth for themselves with the opportunities being provided. So if you look at this, EK, we want to create an economy that would work for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we'll release a plan for our businesses and our small businesses, because those businesses that are already existing, they need some support. Those businesses that are going through struggles, they need some support. And those people who want to start their new businesses, they too need the opportunity to do that. Because if we don't do that, we cannot just depend on tourism and on the CBI and the sale of passports and so forth. We have to create a strong, stable economy that would continue to work for many, 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 many years, and that is stable and is driven by the industriousness, the innovation, the competence, and the willingness to work hard of our people.
All right. Now, you mentioned the PAP and what the other side is saying about the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. They also mention that when it comes to the peace program, that too will be stopped by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. So I'm asking you as a leader, what is the Labour Party's intention to deal with this peace, this quote-unquote peace program?
Right. Let me say an emphatic no. If you want to take something from me, EK, what is Labour's position on the peace program? Will we end it? I am saying an emphatic no. Dr. Drew says an emphatic no to ending the peace program. That is what I would put out there. Let me get into a bit more details on it. The peace program that is there, and the young men, let me start, is the young men who initially came together and decided they wanted to end the violence and so forth. And so I want to congratulate them. I don't want to refer to our young men as gang members anymore. We have to move on as a society. What we want is to create a program where we can support our young men to reintegrate themselves back into society and to give them the opportunities really so that they can grow themselves. So that is why we are saying we're going to create a program, and we're going to transform the program in a way that the young men will be very, very proud of. Some of them have dreams and aspirations, and they should be given the opportunity to pursue their dreams and aspirations. Some of them want to be in sports, And we have a sport program that would be attractive. Some of them want to be in small business. We want to do that as well. Some of them want to be artists. Some of them want to be entertainers. And so we want to create an environment, an opportunity. It's not just an environment, but give them the opportunity really where they can grow themselves and fulfill their dreams and aspirations. And so I would say to them, you have no fear with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. I know how we go. I know how things go when the things rough. And we want to make sure that we create the opportunities. However, EK, we don't want our young men to just remain in one place, because if you stop the program tomorrow, what are they going to fall back on? And we are not in the process of stopping the program at all. We want to transform the program so they can say, you know what, I have now become a businessman. I need to move on. You have young men might say, no, I don't have to join the peace program. I can go away to study. I can become a footballer, a professional sportsman. I can become an entertainer. So we'll create other opportunities for our young men to join. And those who are in the program, many of them are looking for other opportunities. For example, even within the peace program, they don't pay social security for them. So if anything were to happen to one of the young men, nothing is there for them. Can you imagine a government might be violating the law by having people work without paying their social security? However, Timothy's social security is being paid. All of them have their social security being paid, but they're taking advantage of the young men, depriving them of the opportunity to pay into a fund that will be there for them. And if anything happened to them, their children can be looked after. And as they get older, they can have something to look forward to. We will make sure that their social security is there for them, because they deserve to be treated with respect and dignity as well. The young men, many of them don't have health insurance. We'll make sure that they have the opportunity to have health insurance. Many of them want to start small businesses. As we open up our small business ministry, we want them to come forward with the ideas, and we can help them to build their small businesses as well. Some of them, they still have to pay electricity bill. Some of them still don't have water. We want them to have renewable energy. We want them to have access to good water. We want them to be able to take their children to a good school. As we upgrade our schools, we want them to be able to, that they themselves can go to a good hospital, that their children can go to a good hospital as well, that they can drive on good roads, that they can apply for a house, that they can apply for land. What we are saying is that whatever is available for our people, they too should have access to it and should not be treated as some outcasts, as a separate set of people in St. Kitts and Nevis. They can't apply for a visa EK because the peace program is not seen legitimate by anybody. We want to create a legitimate program so they can apply for a visa like everybody else. We want them to be able to travel like everybody else. So we want a full integration back into the society and not treat them as a separate entity. Let me tell you what is happening, EK. With the failure to reintegrate them into the society, they're being used as political pawns by Timothy Harris at this point in time. And they don't deserve to be treated that way. And so they're telling them that Labour Party is going to end this and end that, and that they should vote for the peace money. I want to tell them today, emphatically no, and we will make sure that we create opportunities for them as other people in St. Kitts and Nevis have opportunities. The young men want to be respected like everybody else. They want to be able to do things like everybody else. And so they should be given the opportunity to establish the life that they want here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I look forward to having a program that will help them to fully integrate and enjoy all the beautiful things of St. Kitts and Nevis without having to be cast aside in some program called a peace program where people are looking at it suspiciously. They'll be part of a program that is looked at with a prestige. Let me add this, EK, about the peace program. We know that the cost of the peace program that is being presented is not the real cost. That is why we know we will be able to continue it. What is happening is that most of the money to the peace program is not reaching the men who are on the peace program. Most of the money is actually being stolen from the peace program. That is why they don't want to register it with Social Security. Because if you register it with Social Security so that the young men can have a retirement fund, a fund just in case they get injured or disabled, just like any of us can, benefits for the children, just in case the worst happen, as it can happen to any of us. They don't want any transparency because they might be saying that this number is on the peace program, but they are paying 3 times as much, and that money is going into people's pocket. So they're overestimating the peace program by at least 100%. We have the evidence of that. That is why they don't want to make it mainstream. That is why they are saying that we will end it, because they want to frighten the men to think that we'll end it. But we know that the real cost is not as high as is being presented by Timothy Harris. because we know it is not transparent and it is not open at all. And so we'll make sure that the program is open and transparent, and the young men can look forward to a more wholesome program on the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Let me remind people that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is about moving people upward and onward in this society. That is what we are about. And we'll never cut a program that benefits the people. Never, because that is what we are about. That is why we had the MEND program. That is much better than the PAP program. That will put more money in people's pocket to lift them out of poverty, those who qualify as such. That will provide houses for people who need houses to lift them out of poverty. That is why we produce solutions, small business solutions for people to be lifted out of poverty. And with our Aging with Dignity program, the elderly who are on the program, we will create an environment and a solution to that so that they can age with dignity. So we'll deal with the energy issues, the transportation issues, the healthcare issues, so that they can age with dignity here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So when I speak of a comprehensive plan that is very feasible and very affordable, and we just have to have the political will to implement it. So, EK, again, I say an emphatic no.
All right. Now, Dr. Joe, a Facebook poster was quoted one time as saying that you need to focus more on becoming the next prime minister and less on healthcare. But recently, we saw last night that we are still in need of assistance when it comes to seeking healthcare that is not readily available here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You're a medical doctor. You see patients every single day. The Labour Party national plan for moving healthcare forward, and not just lip service where you say, okay, we put $10 million here, we put $5 million, but we want to actually see it. We want to actually see a medical facility that is on par with anybody else, a medical facility that we can access certain health care, certain surgeries that we need. And if we don't have the specialists here, we must be able to at least fly in that specialist, and they must have all the amenities that they would necessarily need to conduct whatever medical procedure that they do. So what is the Labour Party's position when it comes to health care? How do you intend to approach this?
Right, Ike, again, thank you for the question. Very powerful question. I've been speaking about healthcare for nearly a decade or more now here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, I will say much more than that, because I graduated medical school in 2005, so you know how many years I've been. I'm not an old man, but I graduated fairly young, and so I have a lot of years under my belt. So I want people to know, don't let my youth fool you in terms of the number of years of experience that I have. It comes from the philosophy, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's philosophy. Healthcare will be classified as a right. I want you to know that. It will become a right. I'm going to put it as a right for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it does not matter which government going there. They would have to change it to put it back to a non-right in order to downgrade the service. When it becomes a right, the government will be forced to make sure it finds solution to deliver healthcare and proper healthcare, quality healthcare, affordable healthcare, accessible healthcare to our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so part of our plan would be to start with a new hospital. Now people are seeing a prison being built, and you could raise over $2 billion. So now people understand even better that when I spoke of a new facility, how easy it would have been to do it. And the hospital plan that I have, the hospital costs $220 million. I want people to know that in about 2 phases. I have the plan from since 2014, EK. And it costs $220 million to cover all the beds. And so we will build a new facility. Why? We see that the hospital is leaking. Every minute you see buckets on the floor. People sit there, people take pictures. You got there, you see the state of the beds, you see the state of the face basins, you go in the toilet, they're not working. The treatment plant up there for the waste is not working. It has not been working for some time. When you go to the mental health facility up there, the psychiatric ward, when you look at the state of it, you ask if human beings are really supposed to be in there. When you go to the kitchen, if you go to the kitchen, you might say, look, I'm not going to eat a meal from this kitchen. You go to the morgue, where people go to see their family, might have to be having an autopsy, and you see the condition of it. You want to know, Ross University, which is a vet school, has a better morgue than the Genève Hospital. Ross University, which is a vet has a better equipped intensive care unit than the JNF hospital. I am telling you. And that is deplorable and sad. And to have an MRI at a monkey farm and not at the general hospital, that is sad as well. And so I'm saying that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party will make quality healthcare, affordable, accessible healthcare a right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We'll start by building a modern facility. If we can find money for a prison, we can find money for a hospital. That is the first thing. So I think people are settled that we can afford it when they look at what is being done with the prison. Once that is done, we need to go in and work on the human resource. We need to train our doctors in in customer service to make sure that they're treated rightly and with compassion and so forth. What happens at the hospital, the nurses many times are overworked, and many times they have to do too much, they are stretched, and that can lead sometimes to customer service issues. And so we'll deal with that. The fact that you can't get change when you need to get it changed, we'll deal with that. The fact that you can't get the meals that you need based on the type of disease you're admitted to the hospital for, we will deal with that. We will deal with the privacy issues, and we'll make sure that the hospital become IT efficient, meaning that we'll have IT medical records, electronic medical records, which I have in my own personal office. I want to tell people I do it in my office. It's very easy to do. A lot of these technologies already exist. It's just that there's no political will, and there's a lot of incompetence in the Ministry of Health why a lot of these things are not being implemented. When it comes to that, so we'll make sure we have enough specialists. These doctors coming from Cuba as my colleagues, very intelligent, well, hardworking, all of them will be off of PEP and be placed in permanent positions. And they will be given the necessary support to specialize in the different specialties, such as neurology, pulmonology. I'm calling fancy words, but just to tell you the brain, the lungs, the skin, and so forth. These specialties, the prostate, the urologists, the angiologists that deal with the veins, and so forth. The eye doctors, we need more. The gynecologists, we need more. The ENT, we need more. We have one here. So, EK, we have a plan of how we're going to train our doctors, our general practitioners. A lot of them are coming back. We're going to train them and make sure they become the necessary specialists to fill out the positions that we need at the hospital. And they will be remunerated well. They will be paid well for their specialty as they work with us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, once we have the hospital, we train our nurses in customer service. We'll send some of our nurses to specialize. We don't have any specialists, I think, in intensive care. Right now, working in St. Kitts, I know we had one or two on the left. We don't have any specialists, I know presently, nurses in emergency room. Maybe there might be one. Our doctors in the emergency room have not been given the opportunity to become specialists in emergency room medicine. They're not even certified in ACLS, not because the doctors don't want to do it, but many times they're not given the opportunity. If they were given the opportunity, it had to be very recent, because many years they're not given the opportunity to be trained in ACLS, which means advanced cardiac resuscitation and so forth. Those things, respiratory support, those type of specialties and those type of certification, very important. Very important. So if you go to the hospital with a heart attack, the doctor is certified to make sure they're in the best opportunity to resuscitate your hand. I'm talking about basic things like that, EK. It is a real mess. It needs to be totally overhauled right now. And I want to say to the doctors, nurses, the cleaners, the cooks, the maids, all those who work in the lab, those who work in the radiology department, and the EMT and the EMS, that service will be a service that will be elevated with their own standalone base, and they will be given the opportunity to become paramedics. We are going to transform that, not only the hospital care, but even in the community as well, EK. And all those children, I want to say, who are now raising money for treatment, one of my first actions as the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis would be to give them the financial support so that they can pay for their medical costs, which will be life-saving. I am fed up of seeing these mothers going around with sponsor sheets and begging online and all sorts of things. I'm not saying we cannot raise money to help, but when it comes to life-saving treatment, we shouldn't have our mothers and children going through this type of thing. I would immediately, when is it there to sign, let me sign that all these mothers with their children will be given the money to make sure that their children get the care to save their lives. So I'm talking about Bria of Neat Mouse, the other child that is in Sandy Point, and I want the country to know that I have donated personally to all of them, because I think, and I'm encouraging people to donate to them. But in a few weeks, when Labour take the office and the people elect me to be the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, one of my first actions will be that these children get the money they need to take care of their health. And I want to be held to that. I want people to hold my feet to the fire when it comes to that. So we'll transform the healthcare, and then we'll introduce a universal healthcare system where people, all of our people, will be covered with health insurance. The studies have already been done. Those were left on the desk of the Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, and he did nothing. Eugene Hamilton did nothing. Wendy Phipps did nothing. Akila Nisbet did nothing. And the people here go without health insurance, a poor health system, and they continue to suffer. That will be high priority for our people. Now people are seeing the effects of having a poorly run health system. I think more and more people understand why I speak so passionately about it. But, however, I was able to cover a number of essential other areas such as the economy, renewable energy, and so forth, because that is what we're about. I want to tell people that the team that Labour has is a team that has a number of well-versed, competent experts in different fields that would be brought to a new cabinet. And I want people to see the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour team as the new cabinet of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is a cabinet that will be united. That is a cabinet that is not corrupt. There's no corruption in there. That is a cabinet that is very competent, innovative. Any one of us in the fields where we work, we are known to be very competent, and we serve our people well. So if you go to Jeffrey in constituency number 1, there's no question that he can deliver. You go to Marshall in constituency number 2, there's no question that she is a very competent lawyer and she'll be the people's defender, somebody from the area who will serve the people well. You go to number 3, there's no question that Congress is an excellent entertainer, an engineer, and somebody who will bring that to bear on the government. There's no question as to his training and his capabilities. When you go to number 4, Samuel, who has his degree, he's a farmer by profession, and he was named the farmer of the year for his hydroponic farm. I mean, nobody can question his competence in that area. He's a small businessman. He's a past entertainer as well. When you go to constituency number 5, you have Kennedy, who was a past ambassador, so have good experience in international relations and diplomatic relations, but he's also known as very competent when it comes to the sporting industry. Nobody will question what Kenny can bring to the table. When you go to constituency number 6, you have the former Prime Minister, Dr. Denzel Douglas, who would have had tremendous experience, who can lay his experience can help to guide towards what worked, and even the mistakes that were made during his time, we can learn from them as well. So we can learn where things were very good and things that could have been improved. When you go to constituency number 7, you may Comrade Leon Natta, his competence in his field as an accountant, his work in customs and so forth, those things are not questioned. And when you come to constituency number 8, you have me there. I don't think there's no question about my competence in my field as well. And so you have a team of varying professions where everybody is seen nationally as being competent, even though we are youthful. Look at us, we are very youthful. But when you check the number of years of experience that we have a tremendous number of years of experience within our own profession. And we'll bring all of that to bear on a cabinet in St. Kitts and Nevis that would benefit all of our people. I mean, when I think about it, it brings smiles to my face. I can't even help, because I see the possibilities, great possibilities of St. Kitts and Nevis with a cabinet and a team like this, a team that is not corrupt, but apart from being not corrupt, a team that is ready, competent, have the right experience, the right expertise, diversity, and ready to lead on a number of issues to really deal with our situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis, stabilizing and creating a country that we can all be proud of once again.
All right, Dr. Joe. Before I let you go, you mentioned something earlier on about holding your feet to the fire, and we have seen play out here in St. Kitts and Nevis with this failed team unity government, where they are all now pointing fingers at each other about the scandals, about the incompetency, about the inability to get things done on the ground in a timely manner, and also to report back to the people as to what was really transpiring within government. So my question to you would be, how would the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party under your leadership deal with the lines of communication between the government and the people who elected them in a timely manner about things that are of national interest? How would the people of St. Kitts and Nevis be able to hold your feet to the fire, hold you to a timeline when it comes to corruption, national projects, and of course, ultimately, good governance?
Right, EK, that's an excellent question. I think our people want a more open system, a fair system, a transparent system, and the principles of good governance. That was promised in 2015 and it has not been delivered. I say with strong evidence that they offered the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, a united government that will be built on the principles of good governance, transparency, and integrity in public life. And they have delivered the most divided country that we have ever seen since independence. So it is a great paradox, actually. So I say, in the words of Sean Richards, that they have failed, and they failed miserably. However, within the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, we did not wait on any legislation to determine how we would act in public office. Within the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, we introduced a code of ethical conduct. A code of ethical conduct by which we would have to govern ourselves while we hold high positions in our party. So for those who might say, I'm just only talking, I'm not just only talking. As the chairman of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party when I was the chairman, and with the team that was there at the time, we collaborated and worked to make sure that the code of ethical conduct was introduced within the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And it was done. I asked John L. Powell then and WinFM to do the same for Pam, because I said to him, we are young, we have the next generation. We need to really shift the paradigm in terms of politics in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm doing this in my party, you can do it in your party as well. And it was never done. And it was disheartening to hear the Prime Minister say, after his government would have collapsed, that he is inviting them to sign a code of ethical conduct. Can you imagine that? What farce is that? That is a failure on his part and his leadership that should have been done from the beginning. And so I want people to know that I'm just not talking, but we have actually done it in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And that is why you don't find our candidates in any scandal or anything that can be proven that they're involved in corruption. Because before you become a candidate of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, you have to be vetted. We have to make sure that, we're not looking for perfect people, because we'll never find them, but we have to make sure that you're not caught up in any major scandal and corruption. Otherwise, you cannot be a candidate of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. That will be, of course, a disqualifying thing if you are caught up in those things. That is why we can present our team and with confidence say, this is who we are, though we are not perfect, of course. But I would like to say that based on that, you can judge us that once we get there, we will follow the same thing because we have started it already. And so we'll introduce an open government. We'll make sure that the Public Accounts Committee has its necessary powers to do what it has to do, to look into the accounts of the government and make sure no hanky-panky is taking place so that people can know how much money is spent, where did the money go, what happened here. Presently, we have a government that there's no light. It's dark. You can't even see inside. You have a project for $2 billion that people are saying, and you just can't even get basic information on that. Those are the types of things I'm talking about. You said that $40-something million for the peace program. So how is the money being spent on the peace program? The money go from the consolidated fund down to development bank, and it disappears down a dark hole, and only a small percentage of the money is given to the guys and the who are registered on the program. Not even that. We are going to make those things transparent and open so that people can access the necessary information. Because this is what Kittitians, we have reached, divisions and Kittitians, we have reached the point where we are saying that we need to advance our democracy, and it has to be premised on the principles of good governance. And we are committed to that. And we're not just saying it, we are actually practicing it within our party. So, EK, you will be able to say, look, let's see, this project costs that. Is the money really being spent on that? Well, I'm come here to see it. So we will create the necessary infrastructure where you can access this type of information. And one of the things that we're going to introduce, I want to say it here, is that before bills are passed in Parliament, that they are made accessible, just as the voters list is made accessible. These bills will be posted around St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are going to create the opportunity at the community centers around St. Kitts and Nevis where you can come and put your input into a particular bill. So let's say I want to pass a bill to make healthcare a right in St. Kitts and Nevis. That bill would be posted physically and on the electronics, so you can see it online. And then there'll be an opportunity, a public opportunity, where people can come and have discussions around the bill. And then the bill can come to Parliament for more debate to be passed. And so we will make sure that people have the opportunity to know which bills are being passed and have an opportunity to hear the opinion on the bill. To say, boy, that bill ain't no good. Oh, yeah, that bill look good. But why don't tweak it this way? And to have people's input. And sometimes that input, and many times that input can influence what will be the final bill. So people need to participate in the creation of laws from the very inception, and not have these laws in obscure places. And you hear, boy, they passed a law in Parliament last week, and you're like, what a lie is. Well, I didn't hear anything about it. Mm-hmm. So we want to eliminate that and to make sure that the people are closer to the government, that the people have a handle on the government, so that we can open up the system. And when we do that, as we have seen in other countries that create a better system, a stable government, a thriving economy, and a better place for all of us here to work in St. Kitts and Nevis. So I dropped that one on your EK. That will be something new that people can look forward to. All the bills to be passed will have its public hearing and hearing, so that people can comment on it if they so wish.
All right. Well, Dr. Joe, I'm telling you straight to your face now that you're here, because I'm sure you would have gotten it already, or somebody sent it to you, or somebody told you. But I will be your biggest watchdog, my lord. Yeah, you understand? I gonna be a bug in your rug, my lord. I gonna be your eyes, your ears, your everything. I gonna be on you, my lord, because we have seen an example of a government that we don't ever want to see around here, ever again.
Yes.
And I will be holding the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party's feet to the fire.
Yes.
And when I say to the fire, I mean every single day. Not because if the Labour Party is successful at the next election comes the next sitting government, I will not be putting away my toys. I will keep them here because I will not be extending any courtesies in terms of calling up a minister and say, oh, this brewing out here. I come in full force, my lord, because we don't want to ever see a government here that is disconnected from the people, that is disconnected from their plight, that is busy out there looking after themselves and their close families and friends. And then we have these dirty scandals airing out in public when there is a falling out. We want a constant line of communication, constant updates. We know you can't be everywhere, here, there, and everywhere, but you can have people in place to pass the information on to the media houses so that they can help disseminate it to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We will not be accepting anything less. The days of mediocrity, the days of, oh, the government is young, give us them days they're done, my lord. From your very first day in office, go walk. We're going to get a little motorcade if the Labour Party is victorious, and after the motorcade there, straight to work for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. There is no honeymoon, there is no rest day and all this. Let's go to work. We have a lot to accomplish. So I am telling you that straight to your face. Right. So nobody gonna give no message for me.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. You know, the way I practice politics, people have come to know me for a long time. I'm open and transparent. They have dig under the table, under the chair, looking for instances.
All kind of things.
And all kind of things. They're talking all kind of nonsense. They're losing their mind talking all kind of nonsense now. Because there's nothing to find that is detrimental to, practicing the principles of good governance. So I want to reassure, I might have to run leave you now, but I want to reassure the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that I'm committed, and my team is committed, an excellent team, that we are committed really to establishing good governance. Our party, as you know, we are the only party that can form a stable government here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we're asking you to give us the chance to do it. Asking you not just to give us the chance for ourselves, but for you, because you would have a stable government, you'll have an economy that works for you. You will make sure that the PAP goes to mend and is better. We'll make sure that the peace program give the young men opportunities. They get on social security and have all of the benefits. They can apply for visas and live lives of dignity and reintegrated back into the society as full citizens and divisions. We'll make sure that your health, it becomes a human right, a right here in St. Kitts and Nevis, with good hospitals, good nurses, doctors who are trained properly, and we have the services. Those who need to go overseas, we'll have a structure in place to support you. We want you to vote for us establishing that housing revolution once again. We want to make sure also that electricity becomes renewable, that water become accessible. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, that the educational system is transformed, people have access to the technology and so forth. And so EK sporting, entertainment, the blue economy, that we really, enhance our fishing, especially areas like economy and so forth. So as you can see, EK, we have a comprehensive plan, and we have the people who are ready to. I love the team. And the reason why I love the team is that everybody is ready to go. And when you have a team ready to go and they have the necessary competence, they have the drive, the innovative ideas, and people know that we are not corrupt people, that we are people who have delivered in our various fields, they can trust and know that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is the best party to take St. Kitts and Nevis forward at this point in time. And so I'm asking them and asking you all to vote for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, because the future is definitely bright. And with the 18, things will be better with Labour. EK, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Terence Drew, leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Have yourself a great day, sir, and thanks again for your time and coming to have a little chit-chat with us here on the program. Thank you.
And same to you, EK. Have a blessed one.
Right. All right, so that is Dr. Terence Drew. And you heard for yourself. I got a message while Dr. Drew was making his presentation. Oh my God, can he take a breath? Can he get some water? And I was like, that's all that you heard? You see, I want the people in St. Kitts and Nevis to pay more attention to the things that these politicians say, because sometimes their speech will give them away. If you were at a political rally and you heard Timothy, and you heard Sean, and you heard Mark, yay! But if you sit down, peel back the layers, and actually listen to what they're actually saying, you would learn a lot. I particularly didn't want to interrupt Dr. Drew in his presentation. You know why? I was hoping that the people out there would actually listen to how this man is rattling off all the plans point for point, in depth, bap, 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 without taking a breath, which simply means that he got it up here and he got it here. He not go look down upon the paper to remind him what he need to do for the people and what he need to do for the country. Just so me, I see me the look, mommy don't even make the notes. Pay attention to what is being said. Forget the other things, them they ain't matter, they ain't important. What matters is what these politicians are saying to us and how they intend to achieve these things. Imagine a prime minister for 7 years gets up in a political rally and said to us that his plan, if his PLP is elected to go back into government that he in right now, that he gonna bring more hotel. And more importantly, he gonna bring a hotel that is all inclusive. When he get back in a PLP government, he gonna pave 70 roads that was left unpaved. And here the Minister of Finance right now, currently. That he gonna attempt to bring more industries in the manufacturing field. Up to now, we can't tell you. Up to now, we can't tell you. And he's the sitting prime minister. But a PLP person who's up there, yay! Ike, Dr. Harris are the best. He said he gonna bring a new hotel. Happy sure. The man been a sit down in the chair for 7 years. Not even a cottage he bring. Not even. Last night was a true indication That's something desperately wrong in St. Kitts and Nevis. When mothers and fathers got to be up and down with sponsor sheet, GoFundMe sheet, and look finances so that the child could get a life-saving procedure somewhere else in the world. That's supposed to be automatic. Surplus after surplus, and every year he gives himself a damn salary, double salary, and the rest of them. During the pandemic, when so much people suffered, lost businesses, lost their bosses, the government couldn't come up with $300,000 to save taximan buses from being taken away. But they come up with $300,000 to pay Wendy Phipps, Juicy Byron, the CMO, the chief of medicine, Abdia Samuel, 20,000, 15,000, 27,000 a piece. These are the things that we're talking about, approved by who? Sean, Mark, all of them was in there. Timothy was in there too. During the same pandemic, we went over to the Glowash over in Canary to raise funds for one of our own to get medical attention. And in the meantime, the government to pay the goddamn self. When they just get a double salary and she write a cabinet submission to get herself $27,000. That $27,000 could have gone to a mother who was seeking medical attention for their children. But when they collect it, approved by PAM, approved by CCM, and we must jump on the bandwagon with them. These are the things that we are talking about. Every time you ask the government, okay, in what time frame can we expect the integrity in public life to come? In what time frame can we expect certain things to come? Timothy get up and say nobody gonna crack no whip behind he, as if he himself the damn job. Mark and Sean was quoted as saying the government is young. We just recently had a government for 20 years. Give the government some chance. The government is quite young still. And we. Like, we not give you the damn job. Who go work? You say you could do the work? The government just get a whole 2-3 years a honeymoon just to celebrate the victory. Instead, they get their ass to work. And now 7 years later, after 7 budgets, the same set of people come back to tell you, I want another fault where we couldn't get nothing do. And he fault, and me fault, and you fault, everybody fault. When just 2 years ago, they come back and tell us all of us is the best choice for you. And up to now, they can't get nothing damn well do. The greatest claim to fame is pap and peace. Pap and peace. That's the greatest claim to fame. And people want me not to ask them a question or two. Maybe if we were listening to what they were saying, we would have seen clearly, now in hindsight, that they ain't had no intentions for us. They no had no good intentions for us. They were more concerned about their precious team unity and less about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis who actually put them there. This is the reality. When you don't jump up with them and laugh with them and promote them and big them up, what is your cost of living? What is your electricity bill? How come Patrice couldn't get the solar farm done? How come Sean couldn't get the solar farm up and started within the 7 years that they were there? To curtail our current bill. Some of us get our current bill cut off in the middle of Christmas. Yes, people supposed to pay their bill, but good God damn it, man. And Timothy sit down there and he allow it to happen. No, he get up in Monkey Hill and say, oh, he tell the man for Skilek, no more cutting off of people's bills. Well, you couldn't do it when Sean was in there. You are the leader. You know this was going to happen. You should have seen this and moved towards this war between Ukraine and Russia ain't just start to happen, you know. This was coming a long time ago, and our government should have been busy putting things in place to protect us from the external shocks. But no. Everybody was busy out there celebrating Team Unity's victory. They celebrate Team Unity's victory for 7 years. Everything was historic. Every time Timothy opened the mouth, historic. And up to now, we ain't do a goddamn thing because he kept our focus and our attention in the past. He didn't want you to live in the present. Didn't want you to live in the present to experience what you were experiencing. So he kept your attention. Well, look what happened under Douglas. And up to now, he can't bring a shred of evidence who proved that Douglas got in jail. Not one shred of evidence. And now today you hear Dr. Joe talk. Now today you hear people actually talk who actually care about people, who actually have a plan. And you got the most questions. All of a sudden, everybody in the comment section got the most questions. But nobody was asking the questions for the past 7 years. Nobody didn't want to know how nothing do. Everybody just said, just trust Team Unity. Leave the government alone, let the government do what it's doing. But now, everybody got the most questions. Everybody wants to know how come this, how come that, how come this, how come that. But nobody wanted to know how come nothing for the past 7 years. Everybody was good and comfortable because Timothy tell you everything was good, and I believe it. Nobody never asked how come. When the man out there says surplus after surplus, I say, oh, yeah, all them surplus there. The rest of the world are we on deficit and you are we on surplus? Mark no say nothing. But now Marcus is on the outside. Here come and tell Harry that when he look down there, he say, here's Timothy says surplus. He no say nothing. He sat there and he bask in the glory. Fiscal prudent management. But now here come to that tell Harry that Timothy a thief. And we must ask Mark Brantley a question. Evil and oppression prevails when good men say and do nothing. Just like the very people who see their candidates, who see their party colleagues victimizing people and have nothing to say about it because they probably get victimized themselves. You can't even go up on PLP stream right now and say nothing. You can't even say nothing because what? Them a block you. But in the same breath, them saying all are welcomed. But if you ask them a question, if you say, well, how come boops they block you? Well, how come? Well, your mother was a whore. You don't know who your father be. How dare you question me? This is their response to people. And he got some labor people to do it too. And he got some PAM people to do it too. Imagine a man object to a man name. The man give an account for it. I share it and I say I saw be. And the best thing he could come back with is oh, Miss Alty and me a little girl. This is their response to everything. Get personal. Don't ask them a question, but they must ask the most questions. They sit down in there with Timothy for 7 years, watch this man do a bag of shit, and said nothing. And now that they followed, they want to tell you what to ask and what not to ask. When just a couple of months ago, you couldn't ask the government a question. Timothy got a press conference and he walked with everybody, all of them. I never see a press conference with the Prime Minister with so much people in there yet. The man now answer no question. And everybody was fine with it. Everybody was fine with it. They said nothing. And today, I must hold them up as beacons. They watched this shit go down and then I said nothing. They watched the money get thief and then I said nothing. And to them, we must hold them up. Miss Jeffers, thin skin. Family, when you go up in Sunny Point, you can't be thin skin. Sunny Point is the heckling capital. You hear? Everything down there they heckle you for. And a Sunny Point may go up with some of the greatest hecklers. They don't let you live down. Nothing. They would even give you a nickname. So you live with it. So nothing with them people you say, don't bother me. And depending on who he come from. If Dr. Garfield says something bad about me, I'm going to feel away. Because I hold Dr. Garfield in high regard based on how the guy is. But them who say things about me, if you scrutinize them their life, if you go through them their life, who is them? That's why you don't bother me. Ain't not nothing where they say bother me, you know, is who say it. If somebody who ain't on me level at all, no time at all in life, ain't on my level, they could never make me feel bad about anything what they say about me. Whether it's true or it's not true. Just to put it somewhere you could understand. If a career criminal in and out of jail, who thieving, who all kind of things, gets up and say, you're ugly, you gonna feel something? You must be mad. Them they can't make me feel no way. Them their life nowhere close to mine. In stature, in reputation, nothing at all. Them there? Why you give me a break? Watch. Not them there. What's for the fake profiles them? Them there? What they gonna say? You ugly till today? What they gonna say? You fat, you build bad till today? Yeah, I fat and I build bad. But your leader is a poor management. A Timothy says, Timothy said that your leader, your representative, is incompetent and a poor leader. That's my response to that. I build bad. Your rep build good, but you can't manage. Poor choice. Bad decisions. That's what got us in this mess today. And for Timothy Harris, you claim to be so smart and so brilliant. If you had called elections long time ago, you could have spared yourself a lot of embarrassment. But you ain't as smart as you think you be. You hear? You are not as smart as you think you are. You get carried away in your hype. And now that you're going to go done, I'm going to tell you. You let people boost you up and hype you up. You let your supporters them say, oh, drag out the election, partner. The longer this thing you drag out, the worse it be who you. And the worse you gonna look. And your ultimate nail in your coffin is when you stood up in public and called your former deputy Momo. Let me explain. Sean Richards Your deputy stood up against all adversity, against all his colleagues, and stood with you when nobody else wanted you. Sean Richards stood by you. And after him doing that and asking you to put down your damn dirty, nasty ways, he asks you to put down your damn dirty, nasty ways. And your response to the man who stood by you was to call him Momo and call him lazy. You may have a point. You may very well have a point. But how does that make you look in the eyes of the rest of the world, in the eyes of Kititians and Nevisians? If the one man who stood with you, you turn around and you call him Momo, stupid, lazy. There's a pattern that's developing here. And if people are saying it's a Nevis ANC, it's something wrong with them. Let's go back over your history. Dr. Denzel Douglas, in the face of criticism and opposition from his colleagues in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, stood with you. When Dwyer Rastafan and the rest of them wanted to cut your salary because you was on leave getting your education, Dr. Douglas stood up as the leader and said, no, let the young man strive. Let the young man get his education. Dr. Douglas stood with you. While you were away, Dr. Douglas canvassed your entire constituency to make sure that when you come back, you have a constituency. After you abandoned it and went to look after your personal affairs, Dr. Douglas stood with you. In the face, and these are things that Douglas said, not me, in the face of all the complaints, and Sam confirmed it, in the face of all the complaints that Dr. Douglas was getting on you from around the region about your behavior, Dr. Douglas still kept you in his cabinet and in the party, standing with you. And after years of all of that, standing with you, and he couldn't take your behavior no more, couldn't take your attitude no more, he fired you. After you was up there, up and down, saying all kind of things about Douglas. You know, had nothing where you know say about Douglas. You know, had no name where you know call Douglas. You bring back the word from the colonial days, vagabond. You call Douglas a vagabond for standing with you. And you call the man out of his name. Pam and CCM joined with you. After a very loyal man stood with you and couldn't take your behavior no more, and he asked you to leave. Sam Conda was your next victim. Stood with you to form PLP. Sam Conda is still part owner of PLP. They were talking about it on Jeffrey Marisha show. Sam Kanda stood with you. Sam Kanda resigned, Doug, run Sam Kanda, Sam Kanda decide that he's standing with you. And today, you can't even allow Sam Kanda name to roll off your tongue. And the list goes on. But just in case the general public don't know who the rest men who stood with you are, those were the two main ones. Dr. Douglas standing with you, and you call Douglas out of his name. Sam Kanda stood with you, and you rest him by the wayside. And all these men have in common was realizing certain things about you and asking you to turn away from those kind of ways and that kind of mentality. And you rest them down. Bad on Mark and Sean for not realizing your propensities. Two men got their political careers smeared and practically destroyed for standing with you so far. Dr. Douglas, Sam Kanda. Sam Kanda walked with you, stood with you. Mark and Sean and Vance stood with you. You kept on Vance. Lucky him. Maybe Vance never tell you nothing about your behavior. So, Vance Amory, I might say this and he might ruffle some feathers, but oh well, I'm going to be all right. Vance Amory went to the great beyond before you could betray him. Now come down to Sean Richards. And this is the reason why I'm so hard on Sean Richards. Because in the face of his colleagues, in the face of adversity, Sean Richards stood with you. Sean Richards stood on principle against his other colleagues. He stood on principle against the needs and the wants of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. More so Nevis, because you ain't get Nevis to fear share. Sean stood in the face of that just to stand with you in 2020. And Sean simply asked you to turn away from your ways and hold fast to some kind of decency. And you repay Sean, just like how you repay Douglas and you repay Sam Kanda. You call him out of his name. And now you're out here running a smear campaign. You literally destroy Sean Richards' career, and you're on a path right now to destroy Sean Richards' political career. And you may very well succeed. That are three people political career who stood with you in the face of adversity, who stood with you when everybody else said, no, me no want to do it. Three men stood with you, put you in positions, kept you in positions. And all three of them, you call them out of the name, and you don't miss opportunity to put them in a bad light. Well, if everybody had turned away from you, so something wrong with everybody else? You don't want to take a look at yourself? I talk to you long, I talk to you hard, but you're not taking no talking to. I would like Sandra Queely Atherton to ask you, Timothy, a question. I disagree with you at any point in time and see what's going to become a she. Sandra Queely Atherton, let me run an experiment. If you see anything at all wrong about anything that Timothy Harris did, do, or say, criticize it publicly and let's see if he's still going to love you. Criticize it publicly and see if he still loves you. Just a little experiment. Test the waters and see. That betrayal, that ungratefulness that you're now showing to Sean Richards is the nail in your coffin. If anybody else around you trusts you with their political career, all they need to do is take a look at the three men who stood with you against all odds and what you have done to them. Stachio, Nubian, Dr. Mark, Jackie, Akila, what the other one name? Talbot. I miss anybody? Kendall? Are you? Are your days a number there? Count all your days them. Because if he can do that to those three men who stood with him, what he not do with you? Are you doing well of sticking to the script that Dr. Harris is the best and the most loving and the way? Disagree with him. I'm told, it's alleged, and I'm now learning this word, it's alleged, that he wanted to give a triple salary. And them in the cabinet said, "By no, you don't go too far now, man. You go too far now." Well, he done destroy the career and the reputation already. All who in the cabinet right now, them they can't come back again, no way, no time at all in St. Kitts and Nevis. He's the only lifeline. So if by some stroke of luck, he is able to win this next election, but if he doesn't, nobody gonna want to see how your face at all. Any semblance of respect that anybody had for you in this country is going to die with Timothy. Getting a call now. Morning.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I'm good, man. What's up? What's on your mind?
Well, I just have to click into you. I'm at Canary watching the cricket games versus Nevis on the 17. I think we got 50 something without loss. I sitting over here, the ground is looking nice. You know, there's a bunch of people here looking at the game. You know, we got to do what we got to do. But all you sort of cricket and everything is looking up again. I said that we got to do more, and I keep saying for the youth. I think this game should have been streaming. People could look at it. You know, maybe just start talking and some people don't like when I talk in here, but you know, it's all about the politics. It's all about the seriousness of young people. And some the same people tell me I don't talk politics. You know, you don't talk nothing but politics, you know. And they don't go to nothing but politics. But I tell you what the news. Now I'm here again watching the team. I went to St. Paul's Sunday. Then I understand what I'm saying. And me just start to go on the cricket because my son playing cricket. I go on the cricket from ever since. You know? And I hear where they go to EK when they live. They have to call out on the Creely, but them they ain't going to say anything. So the Creely got big land in the MC project, yeah. So you expect them to call out Tim. They come on yesterday in the village of Bobani. And one lady tell us, girl, I show your boy to them Damien Weeks, but you make him a money than you and you was out in a college. So why are you defending? Why are you fighting for? I said, come on, you get 15 houses here in the village. So tell me why I fight with village people. You had the deputy to give to village people. He give to Hammy. So I understand why they come and make people place. And I'm calling the people in the village, when they come around, ask them what is there for village people, what is their fight for village people. At least Douglas 20 years we see the village transform. We ain't killing nothing in the village for the past 7 years. We got Timothy get 50 house, not one was given to us. But Sandra Creeley got land in the village. That's on the same thing, she got land in the village. So how that happen? You see, these people fighting for themselves, they're selfish and they don't like when you talk. And all the mouth they got, I keep telling them, right now, let them come on your show. Your show is open to all of them. This foolishness need to stop. The foolishness need to stop. And they talk about dirty politics. Listen to talk about the other night. That's why some of the Labour people telling me things that don't study with them. Today, a fellow was on this morning, EK. My name call again about Lindsey Grant and the Marriott. The fellow called me again this morning and Freedom. But the same Lindsey Grant, I keep telling Labour, it's a serious issue. But we say them play around with Lindsey Grant. We got to wake up, my brother. Continue to what we're doing. As I said, I'm a lovely setting, a nice game playing. And I'm asking for something to come out and support the youngsters.
All right.
They need your support. My brother, you have a good day.
Have a blessed day yourself, Curtis. But thank you so much for that. People, you must begin to understand that Timothy Harris has shown us who he is. It's the same thing that gangsters do. They are nice to the people who are close to them, but the day you either steal from them or question the authority, they kill you. Ask anybody who's ever been around a gangster, and they will tell you. They're very nice to the people who keep up with their shenanigans, once you support their shenanigans. But the day you either steal from them, cause them to lose money, cause them to look bad, object to anything that they say, they kill you. They don't really have no love for you. Look at all the gangster movies. They would even kill their own brother, Scarface. The man who stood with him through the muck and the mess, who had his back. All the man did was fall in love with his baby sister. He married to her, and he bust a shot in the man. Didn't matter to him. Timothy Harris had people, big people up and down, and got them up and down still. I tried to convince Harry how great and loving he be. And how good of a leader he is. But if you get them to calm down and have a conversation with them about the parameters that makes a good leader, by the run ass. Like vampire when sun hit them, they're gone. Nah, stick around. Can't stick around. The mere fact that you, Timothy Harris, call Sean Momo and lazy and this and that could very well be the nail in your coffin. And not that I'm defending Sean and them, because they have some questions to answer as well. They got some questions that they need to answer. They have apologies to make to all who are the victims, to this country who suffered so much under them while they were enjoying their victory, their victories. They've been in celebration mode. But while they were in celebration mode and keeping that celebratory mode with their Pamites and CCMites, Timothy was busy in the background, sorting out himself, consolidating his power. They were the ones who were supposed to be watching this man for us. That's what they said they're going in government go do, to watch one another. And now 7 years later, look all what come out. Who no thief from who no thief. What you saying? I don't know, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going now. I had a pretty good conversation this morning. And I got a little riled up there at the end because I want our people to pay close attention to what these politicians say. Don't just listen to respond. Listen, analyze. Not listening is what got us here in the first place. Not analyzing what they say is what got us here in the first place. Sean and Mark, CCM and Pam was a part of the government, in case some people don't know. They were a part of the government. Cabinet is a collective responsibility. You cannot absolve yourself of anything that comes out of cabinet. You have a voice in there, you have a vote in there. You can object. You can disagree. That is what cabinet is for. Hash out and pong out. You can't come after the fact. That's why Timothy could say proudly, show me the minutes where they disagree. Show me the minutes. Because it would be registered. It would be documented. They were a part of it. As much as the Pamites would want to believe that they're innocent in all of this, they're not. And I, for one, ain't going to believe that they're innocent in all of this. Because their behavior for the past 7 years led me to believe otherwise. If they were antagonistic earlier on, if they were forthcoming earlier on, I would have believed. But they sat there, they stood there and watched this shit happen and said nothing. And when they did open them out, they defended, they promote, they praised and lifted up this man. And now we turn it back, give them. They want to pretend like the Panawi side. They want us to join their fray. No time at all. And who don't like it, too bad. All of them should remove themselves from this political process by now. All of them should resign from their parties. Every last one of them. But their egos won't allow them to do that. Their supporters won't allow them to do that. Because far as their supporters are concerned, they're right. We're sticking with the leader. That's the kind of attitude and mentality that got us at Timothy Harris. Make sense? That's the kind of thinking, that's the kind of attitude that got us at Timothy Harris. Sticking with the leader. And in the meantime, you're sticking with your leader. Healthcare down the shit tubes. People still got to beg money. Who will get medical attention? 70 roads confirmed by Timothy Harris unpaved. people becoming millionaires after we passport and out of we treasury. The meantime, you're sticking with your leader. Your leader out here rich nurse and you still a catch up. Some of our laws still archaic, old-time-ish. The meantime, you're sticking with your leader. Nevis need looking after. You're sticking with your leader. But guess what? You still got to go grocery shopping. You still got to pay your electricity bill. Me see some electricity bill over in Nevis, right? I say me ass. So stick with your leader while you are suffering in real life. Because your leader just doing whatever he doing for likes. No real plans, no real programs, no real policies to bring about an ease in your life. So you got hard life, but you still stick with your leader. Your leader just 2 months ago was sticking with him. You stick with your leader, and your leader 2 months ago was sticking with him. You know what the mind of your own? I hear me tell Dr. Judy this morning, and I mean it now. Me mean it, and I mean it bad enough. If somehow you even had the gall to hold Timothy's feet to the fire, hold Sean Rich's feet to the fire, we country would be in a better state. But for 7 years, I was celebrating. 7 damn years, them man celebrate winning a government. And their biggest claim to fame was a team unity-inspired government. The PAP, the peace. I better wake up, you know. We're going left fire, yeah? We're going to go look some breakfast. See you at 12 o'clock, you know. Folks, enjoy the rest of your day. He says some of them might say I got the count bill. Oh my God. I don't care what the now you say. And I know some Labour people gonna vex with me after the next general election if Labour win. Cause not even one day a break. I'm gonna give Dr. Drew. Whoever become the next prime minister, not a day. I don't go get fed up on me. I don't kill me. Trust me. After this government, yeah. I know somebody gonna join in with me because I gonna love the fact. But me gonna want your help. Me gonna want strength from all you. Yeah? Because in the same breath that somebody wasn't defending shit, all you can now come and ask about it. Let me deal with me leader. Because I ain't deal with all you want. Good man in.